KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly, and it's Friday. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. We're live on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. Join in the fun, and I do mean fun. We deserve to have some fun because it was a nothing week. Did anything happen this week? There were no major news stories to discuss this week. This week seemed very just long because there was nothing going on. It was just one slow news day. Nothing happened Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can understand if there was maybe an escalating war in the Middle East. I can understand if maybe there were protests planned for the weekend. I can understand if there was some sort of economic turmoil. We weren't sure about what's going to happen in the stock market. It dropped 800 points today. But none of that happened. So I guess there's nothing to talk about except movies. I mean, that's the case, right?
I feel like the Maytag repairman. There's nothing to do.
I don't know what to talk about. Stefan, what do you want to talk about tonight? Because there's nothing going on in the news.
I think it's got to be movies and fun.
Movies and fun? Okay, Twal, what do you want to talk about? Because there's nothing. There's the basketball game going on, but I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
There's fun in movies.
Okay, all right. We can talk about movies and fun, and then we can talk about fun in movies.
Yeah.
And after that, Carnation, is there anything that you want to talk about? Because there's no news to report or discuss whatsoever.
No, I'm just ready to play this movie game.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to be giving away passes to Disneyland, family 4-pack of 1 day, 1 park tickets to Disneyland Park or Disney California Adventure Park. That's coming up later tonight. And since Carnation was nice enough to mention the movie game, name that movie called Classic, we're going to be giving away Alamo Drafthouse passes. Now, you won't be able to use them next week because there might be something going on downtown. But, I'm waiting for Stefan, come on, man.
I'm not going to lie. I was editing, so I missed it.
Anytime you want to join the show, Stefan.
Okay.
It's not like you have anything else to do. There's no news going on. There's nothing else for you to do, Stefan. Look, I'm looking at Mark I don't know what he's going to do in the news breaks because there's nothing to even mention or reference.
Well, maybe there's some celebrity breakup or something I can find on the wire.
I'll tell you what we are going to talk about. I have been vindicated once again that we need to kill all the bees.
Oh, my God.
They are a scourge. They are a danger. You know what this was? I'm going to tell you about a story about how Prince William's friend died because of one bee. I think it was a hit on the royal family and they got the wrong person. I don't want to start any conspiracy theories.
Are bees more lethal if you're inbred?
Ooh.
That's a scientific question. Don't make it weird.
Well, the person they got was not a member of the royal family, so I don't know if that applies.
I see. Okay.
And for those who don't know, Mark is referring to the desire of the royal family to remain pure over the centuries. And so they resorted to moving on.
You like what you like.
Who said that?
Ray Donovan's dad when he showed his trunk full of porn to a cop.
And if you ever loved the movie Spaceballs like I did, and I hope you do as well, there's going to be a sequel. And they'll have Rick Moranis back. They're going to have Bill Pullman and his son, Lewis Pullman, who was most recently Sentry in Thunderbolts. So we'll have to talk about that. And did you know that when Jackie Chan did the movie Rush Hour, the first Rush Hour, he could handle some English, but he was not naturally fluent in the way that you would hear him talk now. And he admitted that when he filmed the first Rush Hour, he understood nothing that Chris Tucker said. All those looks of bewilderment were real. He knew when to say his next line, but with all the improvisation of Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan had no idea what the scene was or what it was going to look like.
I think even English speakers look at Chris Tucker that way when he talks.
I can understand him. He's not, put it this way, he's not my kind of funny, but he has his moments. And I can understand if you're not a natural native born English speaking person and you were to hear Chris Tucker and you're trying to film a movie with him, yeah, that makes sense. You have absolutely no idea because Chris Tucker is speaking in like a dialect of English. You know, if you don't like a Southern drawl, like if you're from China, and Jackie Chan is, and you hear someone with a Southern drawl or some sort of other dialect, you have no idea what that person's saying.
Well, Jackie Chan's fluent in the universal language, and you know what that is, Mo.
What is that, love?
Kicking ass.
Oh, okay. And it is Father's Day weekend, so yes, when we play Name That Movie Called Classic, it will be the Father's Day edition, so you can start studying up now, because we will be giving away Alamo Draft House passes. We will be giving away a Disney Family 4-pack at some point tonight. So it's all things about fathers tonight. We're even going to talk about some top sci-fi movies with dad themes that you might have realized or might not have realized. So much fun. So many movies to discuss. There's nothing else going on in the news. So it's just going to be movies and fun tonight. Oh, yeah, we have to tell you about the Marines, which arrived in Westwood today. That's coming up next. It's later with Mo Kelly. Oh, yeah, and make sure you go to the YouTube chat. Motown, the Momigos. Carnisha's monitoring it, and if you act up Carnisha, she will put you in timeout or block you altogether. That'll be her decision. It won't be my decision, so get mad at her. She didn't deny it. She just laughed like witchy poo.
It's true.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 and YouTube. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And by now, you've probably seen some of what they call B-roll, the footage that television stations will probably play over and over again about the same subject because there's not much to show. But you've probably seen the B-roll of the Marines, which have arrived in L.A., and they've begun their assignment to guard the Wilshire Federal Building specifically. Started today, and I'm quite sure they'll be there tomorrow. I bring that up because as it goes back and forth in the courts regarding the National Guard, and you've probably seen the stories, you've probably heard Mark Ronner comment about that. It's been going back and forth. More spotlight is then placed on the Marines, which is not under the jurisdiction of the governor. And so President Trump has far more autonomy, which is not being contested as far as the use and placement of Marines. Presently, they're being placed at the Wilshire Federal Building, but I don't know, and we don't know whether they will stay there. As it's being reported, their primary responsibility is to guard federal property and also federal officials personnel who may work in that building. That's in Westwood, and I assume some of them will probably be used at the Roybal Building down in downtown L.A. But here is something that I have not heard really talked about. Maybe you've seen it. I haven't seen it. But it was on Wednesday night. Was it, Tuwala? We had Tiffany Hobbs in here, and she obviously was doing the viral load. But protesters downtown moved outside the curfew area, and they started moving into areas like Koreatown, K-Town. So they would not be in violation of the curfew, but they would still continue their protests. I have a sneaking suspicion that even the protests have gotten smarter in the sense that, okay, we know what the rules and parameters are being set. Okay, we can't protest here. We know the Marines are going to be there at this particular federal building. Then we'll move our protests elsewhere. I get the sense that all of this is evolving because the lines have been drawn, and you kind of know what the parameters are for the National Guard. You know what the parameters are for the Marines, and then the protests are going to not necessarily be directly confrontational with the Marines, but I suspect that they'll just be at other locations and not even have to deal with them.
Yeah. Right now, it looks as if the organization of the protest, believe it or not, there's some level of organization in that. They are popping up all over the place in the Southland, areas where Mayor Bass has no jurisdiction at all. Right. And her curfew has no leeway. Now, when I believe it was yesterday maybe, where a group of mayors within the Southland got together and they conversed with Mayor Bass to discuss the plan for handling ICE raids, but they did not discuss what to do about curfews. especially in areas where it is popping off.
Yeah, it's not popping off in the same way downtown. And there have been a number of discussions about who's funding these protests, who is behind these protests. And I don't know, maybe people are new to the idea of protests. Protests going back to Dr. King, they were organized. They had financial backing. As far as the civil rights movement, it was mostly celebrities. You know, there were people who were well known in the African American community who were paying out of their pocket, not only to get people out of jail after they were arrested at the protests, but also providing some sort of financial backing so they could happen. I hear it on talk radio. I see it on TV. It's like, who's funding this? Who's behind this? That's how protests work. That's not some sort of new phenomenon.
Yeah.
That's just a part of the organizational aspect of any protest. It is not only people waking up in the morning and deciding, I think I'll go protest today. No, there are groups, there are organizations. It doesn't mean that there's some sort of like, semi-terrorist group. It just means that, yeah, there is some money which is changing hands to help these protests take place. That has always been the case.
They fundraise within the various organizations to provide for that. And I have seen some of the messages. There are some groups, there are even Facebook groups that were organizing and saying, hey, we are going to meet at this street in case there is tear gas. Can we have someone that can bring milk and or water and towels?
Right.
And so I saw them, I'm like, so this is kind of how it happens. There are groupings of people who will just put out there, who is going to any of the No King protest? And I'm like, oh, so you guys are trying to gear up for some of those. I didn't see any people responding, but that's how it goes. There is no government office that's handing out funds for protesting.
Look, I would almost be disappointed because we always talk about what? Organization, strategy, whether you agree with the protests and the mentality, or whether you agree with what they're fighting for, that's neither here nor there. I mean, if we talked about the nurses' protests at Long Beach Memorial, yeah, there's organization, there's financial backing to that, there's union backing to that, and I don't know how we got to the point where that people want to interpret that as something nefarious.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is that the nurses' protest, they actually had a plan. They had a list of concrete demands and things that they needed met if they were going to return to a satisfactory level of employment and return across the picket lines. That's organization. They had a governing body which said, hey, everyone, we are going to do this strike to get the Long Beach Memorial to recognize this, to pay for this, XYZ. That's entirely different from what we're seeing in the streets right now.
As a matter of fact, we're going to get an update on that strike and the effort. There is going to be a nurses' candlelight vigil on Monday, and we'll have a representative from that candlelight vigil calling in on Monday to give us an update on their efforts to have their demands met by Long Beach Memorial and that management staff. But just going back to protests more generally, it's just, I guess people like being outraged about everything and every little thing and not understanding how anything actually works or how it gets done. Honestly, you would rather want to have a level of organization than just anarchy and bedlam. You want to have that internal structure.
Yeah.
Now, you can't control the external ones where you have the idiots who just go from protest to protest, who are just criminals trying to blend in with the crowd. You can't necessarily stop that. And I don't think people understand that either. If I wanted to protest, I don't know, I want to have shirts only in the color blue or something like that, whatever it may be. I can't control who is going to join me in the middle of the street. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't unless I'm going to relegate it to a park and get a park permit and pay for security and make sure that we check everybody's ID before they try to join in the protest. You can't stop that because why? You're in the middle of the street. And so even with the best intentions, you can't stop an idiot. Or talking about organization, there are those who are paid to disrupt protests, to be instigators, to be agitators, to cast a pall and a long shadow over events. Because always, what's the first and easiest response to a protest? Well, they did this. Well, there was violence. Well, they threw rocks. I'm not sure anyone knows who they is. in a given sense when there is no real structure. You know, I don't know who was on the freeway throwing those scooters. Don't know. Don't know if they were there of their own volition. I don't know if they were paid to be there. I don't know if they were just idiots who realized it was a good opportunity to get on TV. But there is some structure at the heart of these protests. And I don't think people should automatically think that there's something nefarious about that. Every rally that you see, there is an organizing body. Every type of meeting, outdoor meeting, you know, it could be a Trump rally. It could be a No Kings protest. It could be bring our girls back. It does not matter. There's always a financial aspect. And I think if we should do a better job of explaining how these things work as opposed to ascribing some sort of evil intent. Because it's easier to look. What is it that people say? When you don't understand anything, then everything's a conspiracy. It's not that. I mean, yeah. What is a voter drive? That's an organized function of rallying people to get registered, or also mailing lists so they can send out campaign propaganda or information, whatever it is. Get donations. There's always an organizing point to all this. I just wish people actually learn the history of protests. Not only the protesters, but the people who are moaning and complaining about the protesters. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640, live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and we're live on YouTube. And when we come back, don't tell me they're starting their outdoor drinking in Santa Monica this weekend. This is the worst weekend in the world that you could have started outdoor drinking.
That's actually pretty bad timing.
Very bad.
And you know how close Santa Monica is to Westwood. Okay? To the federal building. You're going to have folks legally drinking outdoors during the protests. What possibly could go wrong?
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Mo Kelly. Maybe this weekend is not the best weekend to allow people to drink outdoors in Santa Monica, 3rd Street Promenade. We talked about this a few weeks ago. But now is what they call is the soft launch. Adults of legal drinking age will be able to purchase a drink from a participating licensed business and consume it outside between 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Now I'm going to need Stefan's help. I know that you imbibe from time to time. I know Mark imbibes from time to time. Tuwala, once upon a time, you imbibe from time to time, long ago. Carnisha, she's a lush. She'll have something to say about this. Okay. Here are the rules. And since most of us drink or did drink at one time, I want you to think back to your younger selves and how you could poke a hole in all of these rules. The outdoor drinking must be done within the entertainment zone boundaries, and the participants will be wearing a city-approved wristband, okay, that they'll give you. Here are the other rules you're supposedly required to follow. You must be 21 or over and wear an official wristband. That's not hard to circumnavigate.
Nope.
Only alcoholic drinks purchased from participating businesses are allowed.
Wait, what?
How are you going to regulate
if I
that?
just show up with my margarita in hand and it's extra strong, how are you going to say you didn't get that from over at the Hard Rock or wherever?
And listen to this. Alcohol taken to go must be in a non-glass, non-metal container. How? Okay.
That was my question, because I'm like, dude, you end up with glass, drinking with glasses. That's going to be an issue.
Right, but if I bring my own plastic container.
Oh, I see.
I bring my own red cup, styrofoam cup with a lid on it. Jeez. How do you know where I've got? I could just show up. Hey, let me join the party.
It says you're required to finish your drink before exploring another bar, restaurant, or shop. Really? How are you going to tell me when I can go into another restaurant? You're saying that if I'm holding a drink, you're going to keep me from going into a bar? Good luck with that.
All that means is that you're going to have people just taking full-on drinks to the head. That's not a deterrent.
not
that
a
just
deterrent.
means I'm going to have to drink this big drink quicker, get me drunker, and go into the next spot.
How do we know this? Because we've done it. How many times did you take it to the head before, let's say I don't know, the police will walk up on you? Because back in the day, you couldn't drink outside, and they say, hey, I need you to throw that away. I'm not throwing it away. I already paid for it. Go. Okay. Thank you, officer. Have a nice night.
The entire time I was in Miami.
I'm glad I don't remember a lot of my time in Miami because of that reason. Ooh, good times.
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember Darlings.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Creole woman. I remember Darlings.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely do. But see, I don't know how wide this entertainment zone, they call it, the euphemism for drunkland. I don't know how big it is relative to, is it a lot of people in a very small space? Is it the full 2 or 3 blocks of the 3rd Street Promenade? How many
I believe
businesses?
it is. And I think it's probably about the size of City Walk. Lengthwise, businesses participating on both sides. I know this is going to be good for the bars maybe the first day, but when they see all the vomit outside, when they see the cups discarded, or maybe Santa Monica is paying for cleanup crews, which means that everyone's getting paid.
To their credit, they're not letting it go deep into the evening. As it's listed, it's only until 10 p.m. I can agree with that. Now, look, if that means at 10:30, you're going to start making people throw away their drinks, or they have to take them inside or wherever, or they're going to start citing people. Okay, maybe they'll just get drunk earlier. I'm just saying there are too many ways to kind of circumnavigate the rules, circumvent them, just get around them and do your own thing. That's only because that was me long ago. If there's a rule, let me see how I can get around it. Let me see how I can get over. Let me see what I can do to fool the man. Whatever I can do to make sure that the rules don't apply to me.
Oh, trust and
that
believe.
was me.
When we used to have to walk to house parties, we would go to 7-Eleven and get a big gulp. And then you put your liquor in said big gulp and you're sipping a soda. Bunch of, teenagers walking to a party sipping on a big gulp. No one's any the wiser.
Well, not only that, let's take it back to Santa Monica. If I have my wristband and I'm drinking my big gulp at 11:30, who are you to say what's in my cup? You're going to come around and smell it?
Ooh,
we're going to take a sip of it? No, that's what I'm thinking. Because if I go to the bar and I get a drink or something, who's to stop me from pouring that drink into my big gulp?
Yeah.
Who? That's the first thing I'm going to do.
Or my thermos or whatever it is I've decided to bring with me
as long as it's
drink.
non-metal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to walk outside just like everyone else. Officer, this is Gatorade. What are you talking about?
Gatorade with gin.
Now let's connect this to the protests. There will be some overlap. I'm willing to bet that there will be some overlap, and you will have some drunk folks and some protesters. And that's a drink that doesn't mix. I don't know how it's going to play out, but you're right next to Westwood. You know that there'll be some activity near the federal building. Yeah. The whole country's going to hell this weekend. Other than that, nothing's going on in the news. Is there anything going on in the news, Mark, around the world? Anything?
No, but I'm so shocked that I think next you might haul off and suggest that you'll be able to smell marijuana at the protests.
Well, touche. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. I'm going to leave it right there.
I want to know where I can get a side gig as cocktail police, where I can inspect everybody's stuff.
Well, that would be that's a real good question as far as how they go about monitoring this. Yes, you have a wristband.
See, Mr. Sharp,
the,
is it? I'm going to need to check the contents of your big gulp.
It's the yellow shirt guys. The guys that are rolling around Santa Monica on those
Same
little
staff.
I think it says security or city liaison. But you see them. They're on the 2-wheel things and they're rolling around. The Segways.
Yeah.
They got the yellow shirts on.
Oh yeah, Segways. That's the mark of a serious law enforcement professional. I want to get on a Segway.
From my understanding, they're the ones that are out there helping to control the crowd, help to monitor the wristbands.
Yeah. And
It's
if you
like,
don't
yeah.
comply, if I as a cocktail cop comes up to you and says, I'm going to need to examine the big gulp in your hand, Mr. Sharp. What happens if you don't comply? Do I get to throw you to the ground? What's up with that?
No, you just roll away on your Segway.
Yeah, they are fun. I've been on one. They're fun.
Get away from me, copper.
I don't. That's another great question as far as how do you regulate that? Look, if you're not an actual law enforcement member, go ahead and try to take it out of my hand.
I got to buy some zip ties fast.
Well, look, if I'm wearing a yellow shirt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a warning, and then I'm going to go and get the police to rough you up.
I think things are going to escalate fast.
No, there will probably be Santa Monica police there.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to go. I'm going to knock on their car, and I'm going to say, that guy right there. Yeah, I think I'm not sure, but I think that's Mo Kelly from KFI, him. And they will not let me sniff his drink.
And they will say, excuse me, sir, can I see some ID?
And what's scary is at the end of 3rd Street Promenade, like when you're getting to Ocean Avenue, there's a whole big club called Bungalow that is really popular. And at the end of the night, people are just pouring out of there in massive groups. So, I mean, it's across the street. So I can imagine someone getting a drink and then walking over to like pregame. So it's going to be something else.
Tell the truth. You've done it, haven't you, Stefan?
I have not done that. I've just been there when I did Uber, and it's just like crazy.
What were you going to say, Mark?
I can't imagine what could possibly go wrong. As we all know, people are far more compliant and peaceful when they're all liquored up.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and YouTube. And we're going to tell you about an attempted hit on the royal family, and it was done by a bee. Yes, I'm not kidding. Well, kind of, sort of. But we'll tell you about it next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. We got a couple of questions in the Motown chat, and they're asking like, hey, Mo, I want to find the YouTube stream, but it's always difficult to find. No, it isn't. All you need to do is search on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly, MrMokelly. And then when you come to the live feed, which is always the first thing that comes up when you go to my YouTube page, like and subscribe. Then it makes it easy to when you come back to find the live feed. That's all you need to do. Okay. Sometimes when I talk about bees, some people think that I'm being facetious, that I'm not being serious. It is a real phobia for me. It is one of those irrational fears. I can't explain where it came from, but it is real. It is really irrational, and it can be dangerous to other people. My own wife didn't know about it. She heard me talk about it on the radio. So we had been married, and she thought it was just stick until we were out walking together and a bee popped up and almost about elbowed her in her throat trying to get away. Then she started taking me serious. Like, oh, you're serious about that? No. Oh, yes. Better you than me.
Have you been stung before? Is
Yes,
that what
I have.
this is about?
Yes, I have.
And what happened?
Nothing really strange. I was at my neighbor's house. I think I was in my 30s, maybe even 40s. I was talking to a neighbor where my parents lived at the time. And then this bee just came out of nowhere. And I talked with my hands. Maybe something with my hands pissed off the bee. And the bee just came up and sat right on my nose.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And stung me. And I could feel the stinger going in. I don't know how I was lucky enough to remember what to do to remove the stinger. I scooped it out in the way that you're supposed to so it doesn't go deeper into your skin. And my nose just like swole up.
Are there photos of this? I hope.
No, I wasn't really trying to think of taking photos at the time.
Think of other people for once in your life, will you?
No selfie.
No, but it didn't change my irrational fear. It predated that. That just confirmed it. And I just have this thing of, and it doesn't matter the bee. It could be a honeybee. It could be a yellow jacket. It could be a carpenter bee. It does not matter.
Wait. Are you saying that you're faulting the bee for stinging you in the nose?
Yes, because I didn't do anything to deserve it.
You were talking with your hands. You obviously swatted it.
No, I didn't swat it.
How do you know that?
He took it. I'm glad his ass is dead and he can't speak for himself, but he took it obviously as an aggressive maneuver or some sort of gesture on my part can't speak for itself.
Look, you know, if someone's in your face and they're talking with your hands, you would say, hey, watch your hands.
Yeah, but he was in my face. I wasn't in his face.
I don't know.
I was having a conversation with someone else, and the bee decided to butt in, and then maybe he caught one. I don't know. His ass is dead. Good on him.
They only get one stinger, so they want to make it count. You were clearly threatening the bee.
Whatever. I won.
I'm just saying, I don't know how you're blaming the bee, though.
Okay, well, this is why I blame the bee, because they're dangerous and they kill people. And there was a hit which was put on the royal family, and the bee, unfortunately, got caught up in this. The bee had an assignment, and they got the wrong person. I'm just spitballing here. Prince William has some very important friends, some very wealthy friends. He had a very wealthy friend by the name of Sanjay Kapoor. They're out playing polo just yesterday. And from how the story is told, this billionaire, Sanjay Kapoor, swallowed a bee. Mm-hmm. A bee flew into his mouth. Maybe he was talking with his hands. He was talking using his hands, and the bee flew in his mouth. The bee stung him internally in his mouth, and it seemed to have subsequently triggered anaphylactic shock, caused his heart to stop. Dead on the spot. Mm-hmm. On the spot.
You don't have to worry about that, though. You don't play polo.
I don't play polo, but there are bees everywhere.
Yeah, just wearing all your polo shirts isn't going to do it.
Look.
I almost cussed. You.
So tell me, when you put on this hyper-masculine display for your wife, what did she do after that? Did that change the relationship?
No, she said, you almost elbowed me. I said, my bad.
Yeah.
But I had to do what I had to do. And people think I'm kidding. The way I explain it is, if we were locked in this studio with a bunch of bees, I probably would kill anyone in here to get out.
When you watch the Titanic movie with your wife, do you identify the most with the Billy Zane character?
We've had him on the show, right?
Don't change the subject.
No, I don't identify with the Billy Zane character.
Would you throw elbow women and children out of the way for a lifeboat?
If there were bees, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, if there are bees that we're trying to escape, not an iceberg. If there are bees,
yes,
Carnation, I'm being serious.
Yes, Carnation, the kids. Everyone.
If there are bees chasing me, pray to God you're not in my way.
Somebody in a wheelchair, give them a kick. You don't care.
Get out the way.
Yeah.
Get out the way, because it's going to be me or you. I choose me every single time.
Now, if you're sitting around and Saturday Night Live episode from the 70s comes on with John Belushi in the bee costume, do you lose your mind? Do you freak out?
No. Because usually Stefan will play like bee sound effects. That doesn't bother me. If seeing bees, like I'll watch the movie The Swarm, won't have any problem with it.
Oh, there's some quality Michael Caine shouting in The Swarm.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's vastly underrated.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you think, Michael Caine? Yes, Michael Caine.
Uh-huh.
But those things don't bother me. It only bothers me if there's an actual physical threat.
So the beekeeper didn't bother you?
No.
Jason Statham?
No, it doesn't bother me. Because I know that's a movie. It's not like they're going to jump out the screen at me.
I'm not buying this aesthetic distance that you're pretending to maintain.
No, it's true.
Like if I bring the bee girl in from the Blind Melon song, you're going to lose your mind.
Nope. But if you were to bring in an actual hive, I would lose my mind. Like, for example, I've had any number of invitations to go like to a bee colony and get some honey, and they keep asking me, think like they're going to break me of this fear. It's like, no, I am who I am at this point. And that's never going to change. And each time I see a story like this, where you see someone through no fault of his own is a victim in this because they're trying to get a member of the royal family, accidentally ingests a bee and the bee stings him and he ends up dead from a heart attack, like the bee was carrying some sort of nerve agent to make his heart stop. No, kill them all. And then you have people like talking about, well, it's good for our ecology without the bees.
It is. What are you talking about?
There is that one small detail, yes.
I mean, like, excuse me for wanting the planet to survive.
Oops.
The planet is not going to die within our lifetimes if we were to wipe out all the bees.
Well, it's not going anywhere, but we might.
Okay, which goes back to the top. It's about me.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.